Reveille, reveille.
Look at us now, tip to...
Ooh, Jesus.
Shout out to Morning Kombat.
Do you want a margarita? Yes! My God!
To us, doing what we love. But it's time to bang.
That's right. The haters can't stand us. Who are we? The Commanders. Yeah, it's a Victory Monday here on Morning Kombat. Hello, everybody.
Go Skins, right?
We won't be talking about Jaden Daniels, even though he is an excellent human being and should run for office. Instead, we're here to recap UFC Vegas 101. Look ahead to UFC 311.
What are his thoughts on vaccines? That's what I need to know.
You know what? Let's ask Aaron Rodgers. He's got a lot of those.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Morning Kombat here on this 13th of January, 2025. My name is Luke Thomas. I am from the capital of Estados Unidos, right here. Well, usually in Washington, D.C. We're in New York City with the CT of the
king
CTE.
of CT. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The CPT of the CTE, the captain of the chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Thank you very much, Brian Campbell. Happy to be here. Where we belong, Meadowlark, Manhattan. Let's do this thing, Luke. We got to look back, of course, this fine episode on all things that went down the first UFC Fight Night card of the calendar year.
Did you watch live?
A little bit live, but it was. I'll have to say the main card had a lot of bangers on it, right? Bangers. I mean, it was great. It was
pretty good.
It overachieved. This
It definitely
Fight Night card.
overachieved.
Yes.
What did you do with your weekend since you were not
There's
no boxing, by the way. There was no boxing.
Yeah, last night for the second time in 2 years, I saw Eagle Mania live. Only this time I was front row and center.
What is Eagle Mania?
It's the world's greatest Eagles cover band, and while I'm not necessarily an Eagles super fan, I have to say this band, if you get a chance to see Eagle Mania live, rocks. This band rocks, okay? Absolutely. Just jamming stuff out.
I'd rather get fucked to death by an 8-dicked Wallace.
Well, it looks like I'd rather go to an abortion festival, abortion rock festival. That's more what you're into. But,
what's the holy grail of besides Hotel California of Eagles songs?
Oh, probably like Take It to the Limit, In the Long Run, Desperado. But like I'm into it more for the Joe Walsh work, the Joe Walsh James Gang solo cover. I mean, this band does all the solo stuff, like the Henley solo songs too, and they jam it the H out. So I was highly entertained.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Let's bring in the third member of the crew here, Long Island Luke. Long Island Luke, can you name one member of the Eagles?
Yeah, Joe Walsh. BC just said it right.
Okay, besides Joe Walsh.
No, I can't.
Perhaps its most famous member.
No, but I did coincidentally also see this Eagles cover band a couple of years ago.
You saw Eagle Mania?
I don't know if it was Eagle Mania, but I saw a Eagles cover band that tours, so I'm assuming
there can only be one. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, Nadir got mad at me asking him about rap because he was saying I was like racially profiling him.
Well, you know, you were like, you like rap, right?
I said because he's young and male. What am I going to do? Am I going to ask you two fucking bozos about this? What am I going to get out of that?
I know a lot about rap, Luke, okay?
Oh, you didn't know the guy I was asking
Why
about.
Why is he yelling already? What is going on here?
Hey, I had some coffee. I had a terrible night of sleep, but I am happy to be here. I haven't been here in a month. You didn't know who I was even talking about.
Denzel Curry? I didn't know who that was. You're right.
Yeah.
You know the No Shit bathroom? It's still shut down.
I didn't touch it. Can't pin this one on me.
I think we can get DNA testing of the of the corn in your the kernels in your shit. We can get to this.
I am not guilty.
Yeah.
Speaking of the kernels in our shit, you can go to our various YouTubes, our social media.
Yes.
You can find those.
Please.
Right there on the screen. We're on. I mean, they're gonna shut down TikTok. I don't know what we're gonna do about promoting that anymore.
Well, I don't use it, so this is fine with me. Trump and I are in lockstep on this.
He wants to save TikTok.
Oh, he wants to save it? No, see, I'm against him.
Now you're against it? All right, fair enough.
Yep.
But you can follow all of our YouTubes and everything there that you can see it.
Oh, yeah, please. I got some hot interviews with
who do you got?
Usman Nurmagomedov,
Here we go.
Merab Dvalishvili, and then today at 2 p.m., how about Rainier de Ritter? So check out the BCX, okay? Check out what we got going on over there.
Yeah, are you going to have a goofy-ass smile on your face the whole time?
I mean, that's sort of my trademark.
But check those out, the ones that are existing. Then again, 2 p.m. today, East Coast time for the Rainier de Ritter one. By the way, fighting at UFC 311, a phenomenal fight, Kevin Holland. We look forward to that.
That's a great card.
I did Submission Radio yesterday, and they asked me, what would you grade the main card?
Yes.
9.
Well, we do letter grades in this house.
Okay. A-.
Yeah, I'm with you on
It's
that.
the pound for pound number one guy in the sport against his top contender.
Khabib coaching the main and co-main.
This is okay. You can email us at morningkombat@gmail.com. Reach the show. Send it there. What am I forgetting? Anything else?
Well, we're gonna have a new merch site one day. Okay.
Do we want to tell them about Friday?
Yes. Why don't we break that news right now?
Why don't you tell them?
We've been trying to resurrect parts of our MK past that made us special, that made us unique. So this Friday, in place of your normal Friday at home Morning Kombat live episode at 11 a.m. Eastern, we won't actually be home at 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll be right here with one other man. He goes by the name of Anakin in Skywalker without the helmet in episode 6. Chuck Mindenhall will be joining us for what? How about pregame preview UFC 311 live in this studio Friday, brought to you by
our friends at Jose Cuervo.
That's what I'm talking about right
So,
there.
Are we going to drink in studio?
Yes, we will.
I raise your hand if you're going to drink. Oh, that motherfucker's hand shot right up. He was like, "Did you say fentanyl? Because I'm there too."
So pregame preview. This will be the launch of it. In the future, it'll be
the relaunch
of it. In the future, it's going to be all over the place. It's going to be wild. But we're going to do just for this first one right here in this studio this Friday.
A live pregame preview for UFC 311, which, as I indicated, knock on wood, I hope the card stays intact from now until then, because it's fucking outrageously
So Chuck
good.
Mindenhall will be here. Hopefully, S.A. Martinez and Nick Hexum will join us too. That'd be great.
They've always been down.
Yeah.
All right. If that is it, BC, let's get this show started if we can. A fun kickoff to 2025, if I do say so myself. The UFC returned to action over the weekend, Saturday, at the Apex facility in Las Vegas, Nevada. In the main event, Mackenzie Dern headlining BC against Amanda Ribas in a rematch a long time in the making. She wins with a third-round submission. BC, give me a grade on Mackenzie Dern's performance, and more to the point, is she finally ready in your mind, based off this performance, and obviously the stuff that came before it, for a title shot?
Just like I always ask the waiters at steakhouses, is there a middle ground between medium and medium well? I mean, is there a middle ground between B+ and A-, Luke? Because she may have actually found that part. Because this was what has become a little bit of a Mackenzie Dern tradition, which is look really good and promising in one fight and then take marketable steps back in the next. This is not only a second straight win for Dern, but it may be... Is the first time the right phrase? It may be, if not the first time, one of the times that the real promise came together. She didn't get caught up in unnecessary exchanges offensively where she's taking big punishment. It was tactical on the ground for the first 2 rounds with each lady splitting around. But what Mackenzie Dern does best is her groundwork, being able to reverse, get into the high mount top position, and take her time working on that submission, which began at one point having Ribas in a sort of a crucifix position. I mean, this was poised. This was strategic. It was, dare I say, trending toward title shot, like legitimacy. This was what we wanted to see out of her. You saw the celebration. This was a big release from her. She doesn't always get it right. She doesn't always put the whole game together. But I don't see how you could watch this performance and not think, at least for now, she has taken a step up to the next level of where she needs to be to still have time. She's still young enough to finally get to the title level. She's closing in on that. You got to give her that credit.
I do. You're right. I think on Friday, I don't remember if we took a flyer on her or not.
I did.
You did?
Yes.
I said I didn't really know what to expect. And on some level, it's not like I don't feel that way completely anymore, but I will say this, BC. You can make an argument this is her best win. I know she has more dominant wins, but relative to what she was up against, how she did it, and the method of closing it out, I think you can make an argument it's her best win. But even if you don't want to make that argument, I would go to the mat for this one. Namely, this is the very first time I ever felt comfortable with the idea that she is putting pieces around her jiu-jitsu game to make the whole thing work better. Not just the jiu-jitsu, although that worked, to your point, fucking awesome. But beyond that, it actually makes the sum of her parts more than just the individual parts themselves. It's more than the sum of its parts. It is a more complete game. And I saw what people were saying, which was, okay, but if you get a different style matchup, somebody who's got good takedown defense, let's say, and can, rough her up on the feet, Mackenzie Dern might lose. Yeah, I don't think that that's in any way a thing that we're challenging. That's really not what we're saying. What we are saying is, one, at least what I'm saying is, one, I do think her stand-up is looking better. She was more active with the kicking. This put Ribas on the defensive.
Sure.
That was one.
Just a cutter from the bottom, which was key, too.
Super key.
To land damage, visible damage.
Totally agree. Secondly, she had a double leg takedown. Holy shit. Yeah. By itself, that is like next level. And then obviously we know she is better on the ground than even other black belts. And then, by the way, in case of Ribas, also a judo black belt on top of it. But it was the precise, orderly way in which she set it up. She goes over the top with that collar tie into the armpit, which forced the head onto the other side. And when she did, she immediately goes for the omoplata, knowing that Ribas is going to roll. She has the arm out there to catch the leg to stop the transition, like understanding every part of setup, execution, patience, timing, the whole 9 yards, and then building takedowns around it. Knowing, by the way, remember, she got the arm bar in the third round. She framed for it, used it to reverse position to get on top, and then abandoned that arm bar, realizing, let's go back to mount and let's reset.
Let's not panic. Let's
not panic. And that was maturity. That was understanding what the right. In MMA, it's not jiu-jitsu. In MMA, you have to make a different set of calculations about when to go, when not. And then she eventually set up for the final finish, which at that point was just a truly clinical way of just breaking the grip. BC, this is the first time that told me she is putting things together for a more complete
game.
Because
it showed us that she's not getting in her own way for the first time in a while. And I think the consistency of having Jason Perillo in the corner is key for her. When he's not in her corner, her striking can quickly fall apart and the technique can be gone and she could be taking huge shots. And she does have a great chin. That can be a superpower that if she does end up getting to that title level finally, that can be a big win for her. But Luke, we can't see her in wars every single fight leaning with that chin leaning over with the chin sticking out. I really think when she commits to the same team, I mean, it sounds simple, the same coaches, the same team, and buy in. Perillo's the good coach for the striking side of her. Obviously, she's ahead of everybody else when it comes to the jiu-jitsu, but not making the mistakes in some of those other areas allowed her to lean more into her strengths. And we saw a veteran out there. We saw a veteran performance, and that's what you've been looking for if you've been giving her 9 lives and wondering, is there still time? Can she put it together? The key part of this, though, is that given the lack of depth suddenly in this division and the fact that a lot of people are coming off of losses, there's an argument to be made if she could slip through and cut that line and go to the front. Yet it's Dern, again in the post-fight interview, saying, no, I need at least 1 or 2 more wins. So it's like she's realizing that this is my favorite part about it. She's not trying to cut the line and get in front and go, well, yeah, it looked good here. How about a title shot next? She's the one saying, no, let's do it piece by piece. For someone that's been so inconsistent, she's creating her own consistency, which is going to be the key for her to get out of her own way, like I'm saying, and not call, you don't want self-enforced errors. She's removing those. Whether it was matchup dependent or not, look, he busts a tough out. 6-1 at strawweight coming in, and Dern handled her ultimately.
What do you make of the idea, though, that, okay, there was weight classes and opponent difficulty that played a role, but Ribas did come in up and down, up and down, up and down, and here she was back down again. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
Why can't we say, oh, well, this is just Ribas underperforming, because sometimes she underperforms?
I mean, did she underperform, or did she? What I think Ribas's biggest problem has been in the times where it looked like she's stepping up to another level and then would lose competitively, is does she have enough offensively to come over the top against very good fighters?
Here's my answer to that, because I thought about this too.
Like, I don't think she looked bad. She just wasn't overly effective, right?
I think she wasn't overly effective. I also think she was inherently defensive. So in that second round, if I believe, is the one where she had the majority of the time spent on top. And she was very careful about that, which of course you have to be with Mackenzie Dern. But I'm just saying, in general, her game plan appeared to be wait, let Dern make a mistake. Because you could wait before, and Dern's just going to fucking walk into something, get blasted, or, walk into a double underhooks and get, taken down.
Square up, do something.
Exactly. Do something fucking totally inadvisable because she's just looking for offense.
Yep.
She didn't really do that this time. And so I think it left Ribas kind of just waiting around, and that let Dern then take more of the offensive initiative, which you saw in other places. I also want to mention one more thing about Dern's performance, which is, I made a video maybe a year or 2 ago, I can't remember anymore, where she had a previous opponent where she would take the back and then literally balance on her head, Dern would.
Yes.
And then kind of punch in. It's like oddly, like you can't really do anything from that because she was just hunting for submissions. And I was saying in the video, the argument I was trying to make was like, of course you want to set up things to get a submission, but you got to do it under the modern MMA best practices. You have no mechanical like ability to punch hard here. You have to change what you're doing. And to the point you made, underneath, finding ways to slash, to cut, then on top, taking your time, also softening her up just a little bit, nothing torrential, but certainly not going back to, I'm just going to set up weak positions in the hope that some kind of jiu-jitsu fruit falls from the tree.
I'm just going to pull guard all the time.
And just catch it because I can catch it when it falls. Being methodical about the whole thing, I actually got confidence in what she can do for maybe the first time. You always knew she could win if things went right enough. But can she make things go right? She made things go right. To me, that's a monumental difference.
Now, there is a level, obviously, between Ribas, very tough out in this division, and the two super elites that we have right now. Zhang Weili, the champion, Tatiana Suarez, the unbeaten challenger, for as much as she's been able to stay healthy. Can Dern compete against either one of those in a title scenario? From what you saw here, if we're going to escalate her game forward, if we're going to bet on the idea that she's in the proper mindset to produce the best out of her, not once every other fight or every, again, Luke, again. Is she a problem for them? Is she a challenge for them? What is she at that title level?
Let me go through the rankings and see how we can answer that by seeing what's in front of us. So Dern is sitting at 6 currently. Now, again, these are not the most updated rankings. We will get one by the end of today or first thing tomorrow, whenever it comes out. But this is
whenever AI is done.
Yeah, whenever the AI has figured this out.
Tuesday.
For us.
They do it on Tuesday.
Tuesdays, right? I can never remember if it's Monday night or Tuesday. Okay. So 6 is Mackenzie Dern. So she's probably going to go into the top 5. 5 is Lemos. They're not going to be in a rush to put her back in a title picture. I don't think so. Jessica Andrade, same kind of thing.
Even though Andrade stopped her, so
just fucking wrecked her shit. This is what I mean. Like, based on what you saw, do you think a fight with Andrade goes differently? And I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe that's the fight. Maybe you run that back. What do you think about that?
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Then at 3, there's Virna Jandiroba. She already beat her. Well, you could do that.
But Jandiroba's got like a 4-fight win streak, but you wouldn't have to ask Dern to beat her twice in this run, right?
Right. And then 2 is Yan Xiaonan, who just got smoked. So she's out.
She bounced back and won against Tabitha Ricci. And
she did.
Very good.
I don't know if she's like really hardcore in title contention at this point.
You don't remember how good she looked against Ricci and she called for the rematch for the title right afterwards?
She also beat Dern already. So that's a rematch there.
Oh, the rematch I could buy. I'm talking about Yan getting a title shot.
Never mind. I'm talking about Dern.
So. Yeah. No, I'm talking about Yan getting a title shot. I don't think that the UFC is currently like hot under the collar for that idea. Right. And then you have Suarez and Zhang Weili. They're going to battle it out. Let's match those up. So Lemos, I don't think is going to happen. The Andrade fight, I absolutely love as another one. Now, you might say that's a waste because Andrade has kind of already had her title fight experiences, and she would end up just beating Dern potentially, and then you get no real fresh contender. That's one way to look at that. The Jandiroba fight, I don't have any interest in.
Poor Jandiroba. I mean, all she's doing is winning lately against good names, but no one wants to boost her into a title fight.
Can we be honest? She seems like an awesome person, and she's very good as a fighter. There's just no juice there. Okay. There's just no fan base. There's no energy behind it. There's no cause. There's no nothing. And I'm sorry, but like, I don't mean to be difficult about it, but you're going to tell me decisions don't get made with that.
They do.
Counting?
They do, Luke.
Like, they obviously count.
Oh, yeah.
The Yan Xiaonan fight. Dern Yan Xiaonan too.
Wait, so what happened the first time around? Remind me on that.
I don't actually can't even remember.
They main evented, and it was a majority decision for Yan.
I think she survived several difficult moments on the ground, but otherwise was tuning her up.
That's right. And I don't think Dern could do enough offensively with the striking to...
That's an interesting one.
Here's the thing, though. Yan showed against Baby Shark, though, that she's like renewed. I think she's 36 years old, but she's like, I mean, she was competitive against Weili in the title loss at the UFC 300. Okay, but if you're the UFC, are you going to play the risk game? Because you do have Dern coming off a stoppage win and a big celebration. You've been waiting forever for her to beat somebody like this. You can play up Amanda's. Like I said, she was 6-1 at strawweight coming in, even though she's had losses at flyweight. Are you going to roll that dice again if you're the UFC, rather than just maybe telling her, hey, go take the next few months off, watch Suarez versus Weili, and you get the winner?
Here's my view. I think if Suarez wins cleanly, you feed her Dern.
An interesting fight.
Long Island Luke, you're nodding.
Yeah, because I've been thinking ever since Dern won on Saturday that's the fight to make. Tatiana and Dern intrigues me a lot.
It's an intriguing matchup. It's two, again, Suarez is in a weird stage, but
so you're saying if Weili wins, you're saying no with Dern there.
I think if Zhang Weili wins, no, you don't feed her Dern. Dern has to get one more. I think the concept, like, I don't know how much time. Here's the thing. Remember, Suarez was supposed to have a fight against Jandiroba and Lemos,
yes,
both of which fell through. I believe those are the two names. Both of which fell through, and then UFC was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to put you to the front.
The next time you're healthy, you're fighting for the title.
And nobody is upset about that.
No.
Are people going to be up in arms if Andrade, who, again, I know has the win over Dern and a vicious one at that, but has had her championship time, is the world going to cry if she leapfrogs Andrade, Jandiroba, and Yan Xiaonan? I just don't think that they would. I don't think that there's some kind of groundswell of people who are going to call this illegitimate in a world where Poatan is fighting 8th-ranked contenders. Granted, slightly different circumstances,
yes,
a little short notice-ish.
And not fighting Alexander Volkov, as we established the other day.
And not fighting Alexander Volkov, but you get the idea. Like, he was fighting an 8th-ranked contender in his division, and it actually worked out pretty well.
All right, if you
my point is this. I'm not declaring in any way that Dern's case is ironclad. I'm saying if you're trying to make interesting fights in the women's side of the game, Suarez having to contend with Dern's jiu-jitsu over the course of 5 rounds sounds to me fucking super interesting, and a new fresh fight in this division, which you've already got a fresh champion. You could get another fresh champion, or Suarez could get a secondary signature kind of win. I guess beating Zhang Weili would be closer to the first of those, but this will be a second in the approximation. Like, I don't see what the downside is.
Yeah, I figured it out. Here's what they're going to have to do. They're going to do Weili versus Suarez. We know. I think you got to do Yan Xiaonan versus Virna.
Jandiroba.
And then that would open up the idea where we're going to make Dern do it a second time, but would you rather have a rematch Yan Xiaonan, a losable fight, or you want to put her in there against Andrade to, like, right the wrong, show that the head movement, the defense is there, and really realize, I think she was too casual that first fight, right? Like, she's too sort of taking shots and leaning on her chin. If she went in there and finished the former champion Andrade, that would certainly give you the stamp of full approval to run her into a title fight. So you're basically, if you're the UFC, you can take either one of those semifinal bouts, pick the win, the winner to look better, put them right in the main event the next time for the title. So either way, Dern's right there, knocking on the door exactly where you would think UFC would want her to be, but you would only want her to be there if you believed that she's ready to make the changes and get to that next level. She looks ready. Let's see what she's got next. I'm ready.
We've got audio of Dern talking about what she wants next. You kind of alluded to it, but let's hear straight from the horse's mouth here.
You seem to be quite clear that you don't feel you should be fighting for the title next and that you would like one more win at least. Why is it that you feel that way? And do you think it's that sort of self-awareness that will help you continue to grow as a martial artist?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm very like hard on myself, and I always try to get better and trying to get, like, even when I have a great performance, I think I did like so many things wrong. So I think that it's a lot of play messing in your head, so it can take your journey, maybe makes it a little bit longer, but I think in the end it really helps you evolve to be like the best fighter possible if you can really look back and have like constructive criticism on yourself, but yeah, I mean, my idea isn't to go fight for the belt and then like lose it fast, my idea is to get the belt, and I want to be like a dominant champion, so I'm not in a rush to get there. I want to have good fights, and I want to make a statement.
You said that you would hope to fight up next. The problem is everyone above you fought.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, who above you would you like to rematch? Like, there's Amanda, there's Jessica, there's Virna, there's Yao Xiaonan. Like, is there anybody that you really want to get that rematch with?
No, I mean, none of them like in specific, I mean, I'm just thinking like, man, I'm going to be like, all my next fights are going to be like Dern too, turned. I'm going to be all these rematches, but no, I mean, any of the girls, I think I'm going to train the best I can for no matter who comes. But yeah, I mean, maybe Virna again. I mean, I know Tatiana come out, and then they kind of threw out maybe I would step in, but I don't think that fight was like really good for her at that time. But now that Tatiana's good for the belt, maybe that's something that she would want to do. But yeah, nothing in specific really.
Okay, BC, your reaction? I gotta tell you, here's what I'm up against. I think everything she said was right. I really do. And I really like she understands very clearly where she's at. A lot of these guys and ladies don't.
For sure.
On the other hand, what decision is she going to make at the UFC? Says, okay, we appreciate that. We appreciate how you want to take your time. We can't wait for you. How many times has the UFC said, we can't wait for you? We need you to do this for us now.
Yeah.
They do it all the time. If they come to her and be like, hey, we want you to fight, if Suarez wins or whatever. I'm imagining a scenario. Hey, we want you to fight Suarez. Is she really going to turn it down? They're going to fucking hate that.
Yep. And at least she'd be coming off a stoppage win. But I think it's more likely that she rematches Andrade because Jan is a fresh matchup with Verna. And they're both, they're both right at that position too. So that they would give her this. I mean, I hate to call Jessica Andrade the softest landing. It's not. She's a threat to knock you out at any time. But she's slowing. There's openings for Dern to go in there and really redeem herself.
Fair enough.
I think that's the fight to make.
All right. Let's go to topic number 2 if we can. We stay. Jesus. Sorry. We stay. I rubbed the control thing and then it just changed all my sound.
Yeah.
I need more snare in my headphones.
And you called for the Lord and he arrived.
Yeah. Let's go to topic number 2. All right, guys. So Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov was, to me, a fantastic fight on this card. And I don't think that the wrong guy won. Roman Kopylov was 1-1 heading into the third, and he was winning the third and was in all likelihood going to win. But there was a bit of an ugly stoppage there with referee Mark Smith stopping it with basically 1 second left to go. I want to talk about the fight in just a second and what happens for the middleweight division. BC, Chris Curtis, unlucky against Kelvin Gastelum with the head clash. Yeah. Unlucky against Imavov. I think it was a no contest if I recall. Unlucky with not getting picked on Contender Series. And now it's seemingly unlucky with the referee stoppage. Does he have a case?
I think he's got a stronger case in the fact that his opponent was kind of allowed to just foul at will in multiple directions on him. And as is the latest trend in the UFC, we get a warning, but we get like light, soft warning. It's never like one more time and I'm taking away a point. It's control your weapons, even though you just poked him in the eye and kicked him in the balls a minute earlier. Look, it's the same argument about the whole 1 second left thing as I think referee Richard Steele was under for the classic 1990 Julio Cesar Chavez senior fight against Meldrick Taylor in their first meeting. Technically, it doesn't matter whether there's 1 second left, 5 seconds left, or 5 minutes left. If there's a point where the referee believes that somebody's in inherent danger to continue fighting and take more damage and they stop the fight, then in that scenario and situation, they're protecting the fighter. I never want to lean on this. Well, he should know that there's only a few seconds left. You'd want the referee, I would think, more to be focusing on saving someone, from that. He wobbled and was not in a good spot. So if the referee who's way closer than us, I guess Mark Smith in this case, right, saw something in his eyes, then look, them are the breaks. It sucks that it was with 1 second left. It was a fantastic back and forth, very stiff, stubborn fight of each of them, turning jabs into weapons and landing huge shots. But unless you're going to argue that the fouls, set him back, and how could they not? There's not an argument, in my opinion. He was losing that third round. He had been staggered early. That was the sort of the big momentum turn there that allowed Kopylov to sink it. I'd rather talk about the fact that Kopylov's won 6 of 7, and we're not talking about him at all ever.
We will in a second here, yeah. I don't think the stoppage was great. I don't think the stoppage was great, but
it's not ideal. But when you watch it again, you admit that he's in a bad place and he's wide open to be hit.
So, like, why is he responsible for having defense when the other person is walking away?
The other person was walking away. It's hard to know if the referee
hit him with a head kick.
It's hard to know if the referee knew that because he's focused on Curtis, right? So the referee, probably isn't fully assured whether he's right here or had fully walked away. But if you see somebody that looks out on their feet, it's not out of control that a referee would jump in and prevent that guy from getting,
I mean, the rule is, are they able to intelligently defend themselves? And I guess if he surmised with whatever he saw that he wasn't, that's fine. But I think there's some of the arguments that I heard about the stoppage are just totally not true. One of the points you raised, this is true in boxing and MMA. Guys, it doesn't matter if there's 1 second left on the clock or 5 minutes or 3 or 2. The timing on the clock and whether or not you stop the fight is irrelevant. It has no bearing on it whatsoever. I know what the feeling is. Hey, there's 1 second left. Let it slide. I understand that. but that's not the job of the referee. So killing him for saying that there is a 1 second left is an irrelevant charge. No commission. You have to understand, the question is not what do we at home feel is fair. That's something you can consider. But what you have to think about is what are his bosses at the commission going to care about as it relates to poor performance? They are never in a million years going to care that there was only 1 second left on the clock. That is as irrelevant as any detail you could possibly imagine. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that this is the part I disagree with, people being like, oh, he was out. I don't think there's a strong evidence for that. I really don't. I think he was hurt, but if your opponent walks off, yes, if you're out there fucking looking, like you just did bath salts and
yeah, but the ref is looking directly into his eyes from a foot away. I know it's a split second judgment call.
But also he reacted negatively right away. Like it wasn't like he took him a second to come around and was like, "Oh, now I feel bad about it." He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It's unlucky, but it's not. I don't think you got a raw deal in that case.
I don't think. Again, the right guy still won, which is really the most important part, right? And I don't think this is some horrible thing where it's like, oh my God, we need to kill referee marksman. That's not in any way what I'm suggesting. What I am suggesting is some of the outrage about the stoppage being a 1 second left is completely irrelevant. And then also the fouling part to me is a gigantic piece of the puzzle. Go ahead.
It is because we talk almost every week on the show about why don't they just warn the first foul and say the next foul of any kind is a point taken away. That would really force you to be as it's sort of like a second serve in tennis. If you fluff the first one, you got to be safe on that second serve. Once you get that warning, you got to start fighting safer. Only we're seeing multiple fouls, very soft warnings. Is this coming from the top? Because it seems like there's been enough instances lately. Like, are they not meeting to discuss this exactly what we're talking about? Being quicker to put the threat out there of a point being taken away in an effort to try to police it? It feels like it's just so nonchalant that if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Do you think there's a message from someone at the top of the state commissions or the ABC or something here?
So I think, to the best of my approximation, there is a belief inside the regulatory culture and those who participate, timekeepers, judges, referees, they're all very closely associated in training and everything. They believe that the best job a referee can do is one you can't detect. They believe that they should be invisible. Now, of course, we all realize that there are going to be times where you really, really need them. They understand that too. But as a general orientation, as a force posture, they don't believe you should ever really get involved.
They don't want to be the story.
They don't want to be the story.
But you have to...
But as we've said on this show, you guys are being... there's so many good referees. You can take a good referee under a bad way of doing officiating, and they'll yield bad results. I think you've got a lot of good referees who need to change the way that they think, because the reality is they are so hands-off at this point.
That it has to be institutionalized from the top down. That's what I'm saying.
One
of them would listen to the criticism and adjust. Everyone's doing the same thing every time.
I think we're going to get to a point now, if we're not already there, and you're starting to see it a little bit, and fighters have admitted this, where they're just openly cheating on purpose because they know they can get away with it. My hunch is that yokels like us are going to have to keep jabbering for a while, and eventually it'll get brought up in one of these regulatory meetings in the ABC Commission or Nevada. Someone's going to be like, hey, everyone is really fucking pissed at us for not doing anything about these fouls, and now fighters are gaming the system. Do we need to do something about it? But the problem is, where we are now and where that conversation takes place, I don't know if we're all that close. It's going to have to get much worse.
Hey, they fixed the 12-6 elbow rule, and it took them like 15 years.
Right. This is exactly what I mean. We're kind of in this position. And so, to me, it's like, dude, you can kick a guy in the balls. You can rake his fucking eyes.
If you're beating my ass and I need a break, I'll just kick you in the balls.
Why wouldn't you? Why would you not? Why would you not kick your opponent? I'm being dead serious. Oh, fucking honor. Shut the fuck up about honor. This is prize fighting.
Who are you speaking to right now?
People who, every time I have brought this up, I get...
Is there somebody else here?
I know. I get the same response from the same fucking dumbasses who say things like, well, this is against the integrity of the sport and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, half of these guys have a fucking rap sheet. Please get that shit out of my face. But more to the point, if the officiants charged with controlling the rules and application of the rules in the sport are going to yield multiple fouling territories to the competitors, you cannot make a credible argument that it's actually all that illegal. It has to be enforced. And we are so far from any kind of meaningful enforcement mechanism, even in cases, BC, where it's fucking egregious, or to the point you raise, it's one eye poke, it's one kick in the balls, it's one grabbing of the glove, it's one grabbing of the fence. It's a different foul, but each one is kind of shitty in its own right.
It's just very soft, like, please don't do that. There's never anything like, I mean, you have say one thing about boxing. Some of these referees take fucking control of the matter, even if we feel like they're
What's a good example of
that? Jack Reese, who just retired. Do you remember the Andre Ward fight against La Bamba, Edwin Rodriguez, where Rodriguez started to feel about the second and third round the only way he was going to compete was to be dirty, to constantly foul and hold Ward. Ward won't take that, so he's retaliating. Dude, Reese jumps right in. I'm taking a point away from you. I'm taking a point away from you. This shit ends right now. Like, he was like, get off my porch level angry at the two fighters.
Damn.
And the fight cleaned up and everyone behaved. And sometimes Jack would get criticized for that level of aggressiveness, but you got to have control in there. These guys don't seem to have that control in there, so I can only be led to believe that we're making up our own theories here, but can only be led to believe that there's a working idea of let's not become the story. Let's not have a fighter win only because we took away a point quicker than maybe some others would have wanted.
After the fight, Chris Curtis took to Instagram. We have what he wrote here, if you can show it. I'll read it here with my...
Yeah, he was mad afterwards, right? Like, real mad.
Only job in the world where you can make $200K in a night and still be absolutely heartbroken and questioning where you go from here. I doubt that. That girl on OnlyFans who banged 100 guys in one day, she probably also felt really bad the next day. No damage. I'm fine. Probably just train tomorrow for my sanity. I don't know if that's a good idea, Chris. You should take some time off. Hamstring tear, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's jump down a little bit. Maybe 170 is the way to go from here. Rest this weekend, and I guess we'll have a talk with the team and the management about what comes next. And you can see, I like the post there. There's my name next to Schmo and everybody.
Oh, nice.
I didn't even notice that till just now. BC.
Yes.
Chris Curtis at 170, 37 years old. Good idea or bad idea?
Moving down in weight is a tough move. I remember when Rashad cut down to middleweight, I was like, I don't know if this is going to go the right direction here. It's tough because Chris Curtis was in this fight and he was tough as nails. And you really could make some kind of argument that those fouls really slowed him and allowed Kopylov, who was very fun to watch and very tough in that one. A reinvention at welterweight at this age, the odds are certainly not with him, but could he find a new window to be competitive? You'd certainly wish him the best. It was tough to see him go from being knocked out and ultimately look like concussed to right up and being angry afterwards. I'm not sure what was he mad about immediately after?
The stoppage. He was bitter about the stoppage.
But he's not complaining about the fouls. He probably should be complaining about that more.
I suspect if we asked him, he would.
Yeah.
But these fighters are also like, oh, nothing deters me, nothing stops me, nothing.
Well, if
nothing
Chris
gets in my
Weidman pokes
way.
you in the eye 4 times in the same fight, that'll deter you. Ask Bruno Silva, right? Yeah.
I don't hate the 170 idea for only one reason. I don't know how much time in his career Chris Curtis has left.
Yes.
If he wants to try it out to see where it goes, that's fine. I think he is a smaller middleweight. It is certainly possible he could make 170. I don't think it'll reinvent things, but it could be a decent shakeup to what he's trying to do.
Sure.
You were asking about Roman Kopylov. Basic question for you.
Yes.
Does he deserve to be ranked inside the top 15 now?
Yeah. He's got 6 of 7 wins, and they're not nobody. He actually fought a lot of guys on this card, like Punahele Soriano, who had a big breakthrough win again, and has stoppages over them. So Kopylov, it took him a while to creep up on us to take him seriously, I guess. I mean, I always looked at him as a tough out. He makes very fun fights. He just brings it. That jab is just a weapon constantly. Do you hear the thud that he was landing with that throughout? I mean, but the record is speaking for itself now. It does have that one loss to Fluffy Hernandez. It was a stoppage. Outside of that, this guy's been consistent. Do I look at him as a title contender? No, but he's going to deserve a ranking for the guys he's beaten and the run that he's on right now. Let's go. Let's start taking this guy more seriously.
At 11 is Paulo Costa, which, by the way, I got to tell you, I don't know if Kopylov might beat him.
That'd be interesting.
12 is Jack Hermansson. It's a different kind of challenge. 13, Fluffy Hernandez. I think Hernandez beats him.
He did already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's really any question to revisit that. 14 is Shara Bullet, and then 15, Michel Pereira. He's on the cusp of that.
Yeah.
It's worth It's worth noting that this 6 of 7 fights that he's won, let me count this again. 1, 2, 3 of those guys are no longer in the UFC.
Well, that happens though. That does happen,
Okay.
especially at the early end of a win streak. But,
Yeah. I mean, all right. So he's taking out some of the trash. That's
wow. He just called them trash. Remember earlier when you were like, great transition. You were like, let's hear from the horse's mouth. Here's Mackenzie Dern. I'm like, yo, dude, come on. You know what I mean?
What's wrong with saying that?
That was a little rude in that moment.
How was that rude?
It just was weird timing with that. All right.
Straight from the horse's mouth? Have you never heard this expression before?
Yeah, well, you got to time your expressions.
How do I time that? I don't understand this. Are you saying I'm calling her a horse? You know that's a silly thing. Only someone who reads at a 5th grade level would ever think something like that.
Yeah, well, luckily I read at a community college level. Luckily, all right. Yeah,
all right. Yeah. With that in mind, let's move it along here. Topic number 3, BC, with UFC Vegas 101. To the point you raised at the beginning of the show. All right, it's an Apex show. Wasn't the best show I've ever seen. Definitely not the worst one.
Yo, it was very fun.
There was definitely some heavy hitters, quite literally, on this show. So I'll pitch it to you, BC. Give me somebody else at UFC Vegas 101 who performed exceptionally.
I'm going to bring up one of the only guys who didn't score a big knockout, but he got a huge win. How about Christian Rodriguez?
Holy
C-Rod
shitballs.
At featherweight, and you rightfully ahead of time was like, watch out for this guy. He beats unbeaten fighters.
Now, hold on. I was only telling you what people were telling me.
Yes.
Which was that I had multiple people writing me that Bashi was a guy. And
Austin Bashi.
And I do think Bashi looks like he's 23.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get smoked. He made good adjustments.
Exactly.
He was a tough out.
He didn't look terrible. He looked green.
Right, but Christian Rodriguez is getting better with each performance. His wrestling, his sprawling. I mean, he's a tough out, Luke. You know what I mean? And he got reversed a couple times. Like, he had to really fight for this one, but he earned a close 29-28 type decision across the board. 4 straight unbeaten fighters that he's given their first loss to. Obviously, on the Raul Rosas level, it got a lot more mileage. But if you look at the names, I mean, he's taking them out. So do we flip it now? Is he the spoiler, or is he the guy that we should be monitoring a lot closely moving forward and looking at him in these matchups as an A side rather as,
You know what the problem is? That Erosa loss really hurt him.
So was that what? That was the fight before this,
yes,
right?
Okay. Or 1 or 2 before this one. But
it was the one before this.
It was the one before this. He got finished relatively quickly. It just was like, you're like, oh, he beat Rosas, and there's not just the only prospect, but that was the bigger name he had beaten among these prospects.
One was Cameron Simon, right?
Cameron Simon,
yeah,
Dulgarian.
Isaac Dulgarian.
Yeah, Dulgarian was the other one. But people don't really remember Simon, the South African guy, right? And Dulgarian, he didn't have.
Well, because Peyton Talbot put it on Simon after that, so everyone
right.
kind of
wrote him off. Raul Rosas Jr. was like super green.
Oh yeah.
And so you get this one, you're like, okay, well, I'm not sure which one we have the biggest, but the problem is that Erosa loss really hurt him. However, he is clearly way better than the estimations of what he is capable of by odds makers, by yokels like us, by anybody.
Duke Rufus in his corner. I mean, there's a lot to like with what he's bringing to the table here.
Can we talk about Abdul Razak El Hassan?
He got sent to hell.
So I want to ask a question because I tweeted this and there was some pushback on it, and I can understand why, but I still think they're wrong. I called it. Now, understand, it's the first UFC event of the year. Like, we have a lot to go through, and power rankings change very quickly in the sport. I called it I said it's early, but this will probably be a contender for knockout of the year. And the reason why I said that is because if you actually look at the punch itself and the way it hits him, it's obviously a sensational knockout.
Yes.
But by itself, not like the most amazing. What makes it a knockout of the year is he testifies in church.
Oh, and the momentum swing.
Swing. He is just getting backed up and he fucking drills him.
Razak was putting it on him.
And dude, his eyes were rolled back. And dude, they were done interviewing Cesar Almeida, and they're still trying to escort Abdul Razak El Hassan out of the cage, and he's slipping and sliding. I'm not saying this to like insult him. Like, he is that fucked up where he can't even walk out of the cage on his own. Long Island Luke, I know it's early. I'm saying it's early. This is unfair as a contender for KO of the year.
I mean, considering there's only been one card, I think it's very appropriate to say it's not.
But I'm saying on objective terms, it's at least something you would consider.
Yeah, I mean, we have to obviously see how the next 11 months go.
Of course.
It's the leader. It's the leader at the moment. I mean, that was violent. It was right in the pine box. I mean, it was gnarly. Should we be talking about Cesar Almeida more? I know his only loss in the UFC is the split decision of Roman Kopylov. He's 3-1. He won in the Dana White Contender Series, but he's 36 years old.
That's the problem for me. And he doesn't have a ton of experience.
He also has a win over Poetan in kickboxing. They have
right, so he's got a decorated kickboxing background. So if he's got that storyline thing, I mean, think about it. Poatan fast-tracked to become the legend he is now because of the storyline thing.
And now he's like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here.
So,
I'm going to heavyweight.
What do you think about Cesar getting some...
I mean, he's on his fucking way. That win was...
Although one of them was over Poteria, who got knocked out again on this
Since
card.
beating Shogun, I think he's lost like 4 or 5 Brazilians in a row, all badly, by the way. We have a comment from Abdul Razak Al Hassan reacting to a terrible knockout loss. Let's see what he says.
I'm sorry, fans. I got greedy and I got caught. No excuse. I'm sorry to my fans, my true fans. I got greedy, went for it, and I got caught. There's nothing I can do but cry myself to sleep.
It's about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, that's very
Also,
humble.
very quickly, we have C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez. Yeah, he posted this on Instagram. And, he looked great.
Dude, he went after him off the opening bell,
Sure
too.
did. Sure did. His wrestling scrambles were great. His takedown defense was great. Those knees, every time Bashi tried to close distance, he was crushing
Even though
him.
we kind of talk shit about the co-main event, Ponzi against Carlson
No,
Harris.
it sucked.
No,
It sucked.
It was a little gnarly. There was some back and forth action. I mean, Ponzi got his ass kicked and then
Ponzinibbio's
rallied.
chin is so diminished at this point.
Yeah. He's 38. He's after it. But he took a lick.
Carlson Harris throws punches like this. He'll throw one, and then he'll throw it like he's throwing a fucking axe.
Oh, I love it. He's just going to stab him. We got to mention Jacoby Smith. Looked like $1 million on the undercard.
Dude, did you see the Jacoby Smith fight? Where
he like leaped away from the celebration? Yeah.
He looks fucking awesome.
And poised and confident. Like, he just looks like he's ready to take that next step.
A dynamite Division I wrestler built like a fucking brick shithouse who hit him with the fucking 1-2 and then 2-3.
It was Preston Parsons who came in ripped.
Who looked like also looked like he was fucking jacked as shit.
I mean, none of them are as jacked as Arman Tsarukyan is right now. I mean, that guy just
take a look at him in a minute.
Looks like the Incredible Hulk, but wow.
But I thought all those guys. Long Island Luke, did you end up catching the card after the fact?
I didn't catch most of it, but C-Rod was my big win of the week, so I was pretty happy to see he won.
Well, I couldn't add it in Have You Seen This Shit because they're killing us lately, but did you see Victoria Dudikova actually, after getting stopped by Fatima Klein, had that dust up with her cornerman?
So she slapped her cornerman. Do we know why she did that?
Somebody reported that they could make out what she was saying, and she was like, "You weren't there for me when I needed you," blah, 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 something like that. I don't know how reputable that
because she got stopped via strikes just before that, or with the ground and pound,
It looked like there was something deeper outside the cage that, but I'm speculating.
Okay, so we had Puna Haley Solerano getting a nice win over Earl Schmidich.
We'll see him again. Have you seen this shit? We won't see the KO, but that guy's fun, man. That guy makes fun moments happen. And you see him afterwards, he was like doing like the two-handed masturbation celebration. It was interesting.
I mean, I'm doing that every day, if we're just being honest about it.
Like, I don't need to win fights for that. Yeah, that's great. Fun opening, UFC. Thank you very much, all right?
Yeah. And by the way, how'd you feel about the Dominic Cruz-Bisping tandem? I
mean, Bisping overtalked, but I love Cruz, and I love that sometimes they get a little edgy with each other or they compete on air with each other. So if I have to get Cruz,
you need that.
He plays that role perfectly.
You definitely need that. Everyone on the UFC, like if there's a criticism I have of the UFC commentary, it's that everyone is artificially chipper.
Yeah.
They're artificially like, hey, isn't this a great day? Like everything is like a bit. Okay, we're having
Wait,
an
can they
audio
hear
issue.
us?
Is it me? Can they hear us?
Oh, we're back. All right. Apologies if we had some audio issues. We probably just made bad dad jokes while you couldn't hear us.
BC, I love this fight.
Jack Della versus Leon Edwards, one of the best non-title fights you can make in this sport, right?
All right, tell me about this fight in the following categories. What's on the line, and then I want you to tell me how you see them matching up.
Yeah, this is a who's coming or who's going in the title picture right now, with Leon Edwards really needing and wanting to bounce back. Don't forget, he was pound for pound top 5 in that run with the 2 wins over Usman. Losing the title, who's going to bounce back against a guy, a freight train who seems to be coming, who's got through some injuries, got through some setbacks, but still win after win, even if he has to rally against Gilbert Burns and brutally knee him. This is the future of the division right here. We're finding out. Does Leon have one more run? Or if not, it's JDM's time. The stakes couldn't be higher. The 5 rounds to really find out where both are at right now. The contrasts in how they go about their business. I mean, this is going to be a great fight. And, it's going to be a sick backdrop with London, too. And, they love some Rocky over there. So let's go. Mr. Bob Bellina, Mr. Bob Della Maddalena. I'm fired up,
JDM, I love this fight. And I think you're right. Think of all the non-title fights you can make in the UFC without having a guy change a weight class. So just inside the division itself and come up with a better one. I'm not saying you can't, but this one's going to be on the short list.
Damn.
Former champion in Leon Edwards, who, by the way, I don't think he looked bad against Gilbert Burns. He looked mostly... Gilbert Burns, I'm sorry. Bilal Muhammad, I apologize. He looked mostly overwhelmed, not completely. He had the big 5th round rally, which I think matters. I had it, I think, 48-47 at worst. 49-46 is also possible, but he did win that last round, at least. But is not over the hill yet, BC. He is not, Muhammad is much older than him.
Yes.
And I don't know. That was his hometown. I know it was supposed to be 5 a.m, but everybody else did the job that they were supposed to, who won that night. They don't really have a complaint about it.
Maybe it was just Bilal's night. Maybe it was just Bilal's moment.
I think it was, but this is my point. This is a monster chance at redemption for beating a guy who in JDM is not nearly as battle-tested as a guy like Leon Edwards. On the other hand, if you're JDM, they were maybe going to save you for that UFC 312 card. That's not in play. They want you to go and travel. You got to go into the mouth of the lion's den and take on a guy who is by no means athletically done, by no means on the decline.
You're not falling back against an aftermarket Colby Covington. You're facing a hungry tiger who's coming. Let's go.
And then, again, and the way that Muhammad beat him was a way that I just don't think Jack Della Maddalena, if he does win, that's not even a blueprint he can fucking follow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to have to just duke it out with this fucking guy. And JDM, look at his face. My man loves to duke it out.
He's got some serious cauliflower here, too. That
JDM?
means he's a real man.
Yeah. He's got, dude, his nose, is a travesty.
He can win this championship. So that's why this title picture, welterweight is loaded right now. You getting that 10 to 15 in the rankings, and you got future title contenders like Pratish and Morales.
The thing we had talked about a couple of years happening ago at lightweight, where the guys like the Fazivs are coming and the Tsarukyans and so forth. Now you're getting to see Sean. I saw you.
What?
As soon as I said the word coming, you were like,
no. I had neither a skit nor a bit ready to go.
Like Ernest goes to camp.
Burn. Yeah.
But in this particular case, in JDM taking on Leon Edwards, I forgot what the fuck I was going to say. God damn it.
We're going to talk about welterweights and down under.
Yes. Now we finally have the same kind of phenomenon really, really taking shape at welterweight, where Sean Brady has fully materialized into, I think, something pretty significant. We just saw Shafkat. We just saw Ian Gary.
Ian Gary's something significant.
100%. He's super young. He's got a super bright future. Shafkat's the present to some extent anyway. We'll have to see. And then it goes on down here through the list. And by the way, we didn't mention it. I also want to get your reactions to the same division. It was reported by Alex Bahunin, I think I pronounced his name correctly, over the weekend.
Yes.
In the same division, Gilbert Burns taking on Michael Morales. Buddy.
Bang air. That is
a banger.
As Jim Lampley once said during Pacquiao Clottey, bang, bang, try and stop me. Bang, bang.
I remember watching
bang,
that.
bang.
I remember watching that in a bar, and then a girl at a different table looks over at the guy she was with, and she goes, "Why the fuck is he doing that?"
Is he having a stroke? No. Bang, bang on that. Actually, I want to get your reaction because that's a fantastic fight. But what does this mean for Ian Gary's future in your mind now that we're starting to see people match up with their next step?
So it depends what I mean, in the end, it's one of those things where it's like, what is UFC going to offer him?
Like, what's the next fight after
Sean Brady?
After losing.
So Sean Brady, I remember he's in multiple interviews, including one with me. He has called for a fight with Ian Gary. Hello, they have the same management.
Who?
I forget. What's his face?
Jason House?
No. I can't. At the tip of my tongue, I can't.
Does the man have a good hairline or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a under the radar Danny Rube joke. I thought you were gonna bite onto it. You know what I mean? All right, there you go.
Dude, every time
Lloyd Pearson.
Every time you do that, you make a Danny Rube joke.
First of all, I love Danny Rube.
He texts me about it.
All right, Danny Rube.
He's like, "What the fuck, guys?"
Much respect to that OU wrestler, that alumni over there.
But here's what I mean. We're talking about it. The only part I can't figure out. Okay, you've got relatively young versus old, Leon and JDM. You got young versus old, Michael Morales, Gilbert Burns. You've got young versus old, so to speak, with Bilal Muhammad and Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Where's Prates going next?
Great. So what do you do with Prates? What do you do with Brady? What do you do with Ian Gary? Because remember, Brady wanted the fight against Leon. They gave it to Jack Della instead.
I have to ask, what about Kamaru as well?
What do you think?
What if they did Kamaru?
I was going to say, you got to bring Kamaru into it if you're going to do young versus old.
Who fights Kamaru?
Ian Gary.
Ian Gary? Why not?
Sean Brady's kind of more intriguing.
Yeah, I agree. The Sean Brady one is more intriguing.
It is young versus young risers.
And yes. After Ian Gary fought Shavkat, it doesn't make sense to give Ian Sean Brady right away.
Yeah, but Gary Kamaru is a pretty big main event.
So I agree that's also a good option because obviously they have training. Dude, when we were there to interview Gilbert, both of them were there.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
That's true.
And I remember
also Robbie Lawler was there. He wanted nothing to do with us.
Yeah, Robbie Lawler.
He went the other direction.
He had less than zero interest in talk, which in fairness, I understand that. Nevertheless, but welterweight, to the point you raised, BC, such an exciting time where one school is coming to take over the next one, and how it's going to go, I don't know.
Real quick, speaking of Lawler, BKFC, Mike Perry versus Robbie Lawler. Feldman said they're considering that's their move. How would you be moved for that? I mean, that would be gross in a good way.
I mean, it's gross that they're still in business with Conor McGregor, but it's fight sports and nobody cares about people doing horrendous shit.
Not usually.
Not usually, anyway. It's so weird that everyone hates Greg Hardy, and then like everyone else who's done like demonstrably worse shit no one cares about. It's really fucking bizarre, but okay. That aside,
you like it. Come on. You're you're a grown-ass American man. Of course you like it.
I don't hate it. I do worry. Don't you worry about Lawler a little bit?
I do. Long Island Luke, it's going to bang if they do Perry versus
Are you
Lawler.
a BKFC guy?
No, I mean, I'll watch like the Mike Perry fights, the big ones.
Yeah.
I just want to say it's kind of ironically full circle. I don't remember who Mike Perry fought, but he knocked someone out, and Robbie was either just coming off being champion or contender still. And Mike Perry's like, I know everyone wants to see me beat up Robbie Lawler. And we were all like, bro, that's way too far-fetched. You're never going to get that fight. So the fact that it's coming to fruition in BKFC is kind of wild.
That is, I mean, but they were out of options.
That's true.
Who were they going to have? The Morales and Burns fight. If Burns loses, is he done?
He's done at this level. He's done at the elite level.
Yeah.
I mean, he's lingering. He's not even at the elite level anymore, to be fair.
I think he's 38.
Yes. I mean, that was a brutal knockout loss, even though he was beating JDM, which you do have to consider that. And the Brazilians are built different. We have to say that out loud.
Yeah.
Built different.
And Gilbert also is built different.
But
world champion in a different sport.
I mean, could he still win a big fight? Yes, but we're at the very end of the story, it feels like.
Okay, fair enough. BC, I don't know if you know this. It's UFC 311 fight week.
Ooh.
The card is beyond stacked. Right?
Yeah, but before you get into that, you should probably talk about our fantastic partnership with.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, nice.
That's what I'm doing. I'm setting it up.
Smoother than a baby's ass.
That's right. God damn it. Listen to me now. This card is incredible. Here we go. In the main event, you have the number one pound-for-pound guy in the sport, Islam Makhachev, defending his title against a worthy adversary in Arman Tsarukyan. In your co-main, the other maybe the best division in the sport, 135, Merab Dvalishvili, defending his title against the second coming of the Nurmagomedov family, so to speak, at least inside the UFC, in Umar Nurmagomedov. Then, grudge match of sorts with Yuri Prochazka, former champion, taking on Jamal Hill, former champion. How about Renier de Ridder, BC,
Yes.
taking on Kevin Holland? What's the last one I'm missing on the main card?
Moicano.
Moicano taking on
Dariush.
Beneil Dariush.
Yeah.
This card is a banger.
She bangs.
Top
Yeah.
to bottom, BC, and you can jump in on all the actions at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. BC, it's super easy
Yes.
for first-timers to get started. They can try betting on something simple like picking a fighter to win. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, BC.
Easy to download, easy to use.
That's right. You're going to select your fighter and place your first bet. It's that simple. BC, if you're new to DraftKings,
Yes.
new customers can bet $5
That's it.
to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. What else should they know?
You're going to need to use our code. That's Combat with a K. But like Luke mentioned, if you look at this card and you go, you know what, Money Moicano, he's on the money right now. I'm going to go with him. Put $5 down, $200 in instant bonus bets right in your account. Let's go. Let's enjoy the fun. Let's put a little cheddar on it. 311 is going to bang this weekend, and you can bet rounds. You can bet ways the fights end. I mean, there's so many ways to break it down right there. Will it go over, under, all that stuff? So there's a lot to look at here. Also, Coach Habib in the main and co-main event.
BC, it's an octagon inside of a dome. It's UFC 311 in LA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. As you indicated, use the code COMBAT. That's COMBAT with a K. And new customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call I can't see shit. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Better call an optometrist with those old-ass retinas you're
Holy
rolling out
shit,
here, right?
you are not lying. I should have worn this. I can't see a goddamn thing.
Shout out to DraftKings, man. You know what I'm saying?
All
Just
right.
like Luke at 10:57 a.m. before the start of our show, the crown is in fact yours.
All right. Very good. Oh, yeah, it wasn't. Well, now it's the commodes, but okay. BC, let's talk about topic number 5 if we can. It is UFC 311 Fight Week. As you indicated earlier in the show, let's remind folks, we're going to be right back here in studio on Friday for a live drinking show, pregame preview with the Iceman himself, Chuck Mindenhall. Yes, we're back here on Friday. Should be fun. 2 trips to New York in 1 week. Shoot me in the face, please. But nevertheless.
Wow. With the AIDS gun? Is that where you're going again?
With the AIDS gun.
Okay.
BC, I have my own. I don't know where you're going to go with this, but let's start with a very, very sort of high-level UFC preview here, if we can, to start the week, which is, what UFC 311 storyline are you most paying attention to?
I didn't think it would end up being this, but for me, it's become Rob Dvalishvili and where his head's at and what we can expect from the champion in this fight, in which he'll be kind of a hefty underdog against Umar Nurmagomedov. I had him on my solo channel this week. You've seen him in some other interviews, and he's still sort of holding the wounds of what he felt has been a disrespectful run for him, not just from his opponent Umar, who he is holding this deep-rooted grudge that Umar insulted his fighting ability and wouldn't say sorry afterwards, and it's still on anywhere, as we saw before, during, and after that press conference right before UFC 310 in December, where it was just out of control. So Merab's normally this jovial, confident guy. I mean, he's talking about the UFC pressuring him in to take the fight when his injuries weren't fully healed. He wanted 5 or 6 months, break like most champions after winning the title, and they rushed him back in 4. He basically is saying, like, why isn't Umar fighting Song Yadong? Why isn't he fighting, insert other name, Mario Bautista? And he basically told me, he's like, well, I guess those guys don't have Habib as a cousin. So I know that we focus some of it on, like, is Merab ducking him? And I think he gave us reasons to kind of question that based on his behavior. Something has been completely off about Merab, and this builds here, and I wonder how much it'll still be in his head. The question becomes this: will that fuel him to an even stronger performance? And are we and the odds makers, underrating him? I think you and I both went on record and was like, we kind of like Umar in this matchup. It's a fantastic matchup. I wonder because sometimes, Luke, it brings out the very best in people. But I have to admit, from interviewing Merab and hearing him get emotional, upset all over again, retelling the stories, I can't remember a time where I've seen a fighter, a defending champion, where it just openly feels like the opponent's in his head. I just don't know what that will produce for Merab here.
From the outside looking in, again, I need to watch your interview. I'll watch it on the ride home today. It seems to be like Nurmagomedov just being there, not just, obviously the contendership has exacerbated it. It's been eating at him, right? It seems to be just slowly eating at him. I almost feel like he took the fight just to get relief from having to deal with this. It's really weird.
It is. In Long Island, Luke, would you say that that Coach Ray Longo said on the...
Just that he was upset with how short of turnaround. He didn't agree that Merab should have taken the fight, essentially.
Where was this?
This was on the
Anik and Florian. He kind of alludes to it each time he's on, that he wasn't too happy with how short of a turnaround it was.
Dude, motherfucking Ray Longo knows the game. If he's not happy with it, that's a red flag as far as I'm concerned.
And I get that Umar had that interview with Okamoto where he talked about breaking his arm, but I guess it wasn't like recent. It was it was a couple months back? I'm not really sure. And everybody's got injuries. I get that. But like Merab is in one of the best divisions and just conquered the top of the mountain in, a real, not storyline fashion, but almost inspirational fashion. It's not cool to see him talk about how he was kind of just pushed into this. I mean, what do you risk by going, sorry, promotion, I'm not healthy? I mean, they're not going to strip you.
They're going to make an interim. They'll make an interim. They would have had, here's what they would have done. They would have had Umar fight, who was another top contender that they could have had him fight? Peter Yan?
O'Malley. Well, O'Malley, I don't think O'Malley's fully healthy. Okay, but yeah, it could be Yan or O'Malley.
Whoever. They would have found someone.
Sandhagen.
Even, yes. Yeah. Well, he already fought him, so maybe not that one. Yeah. But you get the idea.
Right.
They would have fucking Mario Bautista.
Right.
They would have picked someone out of the lineup and been like, you're fighting for an interim title. That's what they would have done. 100%. No, guaranteed.
I mean, how do you read Merab, who we look at him as this crazy man, we look at him as this fun, jubilant guy, but like, he's serious right now, and he's still sore about that guy in the crowd at UFC 310 that was a plant from the Nurmagomedov team.
No one is more mad all the time than Merab. And I know people think that, he's constantly making these like really terrible sketches for social media that never have a punchline,
So some of them are funny. You got to give them that.
I don't actually have
to.
Okay.
See, to me, Merab is great. I love him.
Oh, I didn't say I dislike Merab. I like Merab. I just don't think his sketches are funny.
Okay.
But nevertheless, you think that's him. But the reality is, think about how many times you've seen a video. It's like Merab fights fan Merab climbs wall, fights fan.
Merab spanks the twerking ass of Eileen Perez backstage. Yeah.
Merab throws rock at Gorilla, who, ignored him at the zoo or something. Like, my man is always in fucking beefs.
Do you think this makes him better? Serious question. Does him...
No. No, I think it makes him worse. Okay. Might make him better in short bursts.
You can't make mistakes against Umar. You can't.
Umar's a tough matchup. He's going to be a tough matchup no matter who the fuck you are. I really feel like this has been, if not out of character for Merab, it's been revealing of Merab's weaker character, the parts about his character that are not as strong.
Because I was like, Merab, I was surprised that you were that emotional at the press conference. He got mad. He's like, how do you say I'm surprised? He insulted me. And like, I wanted to go punch his face like a real man would. And I'm like.
Yeah, he's a big honor culture guy. Like, if I say things to you, it removes your dignity.
Reminds me of Okinawa and Karate Kid Part 2. Not for tournament, Daniel-san, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, live or die, man.
Remember those things that they had? Chick things. I don't know if I forget they were called. This is a big one. It's a great title fight. To say nothing of how the two match up as actual fighters.
Such a great fight.
Phenomenal contest. That's a great one to follow. For me, BC, a couple things I want to show you. One.
Hopefully it's the body of Tsarukyan, please.
Let's take a look at the body of Arman Tsarukyan if we can here.
This He-Man action figure. Good Lord.
What the fuck? If I looked like that, I don't give a shit if it was negative 100 outside in fucking Calgary, Canada.
Yeah, you'd be lifting in your front yard.
I'm looking shirtless like this all the fucking time. And I actually went back. I was wondering, I'm like, has he always looked like this? And we're just like glazing him because we're, latently homosexual, which is possible. We possibly are. But in reality, I watched the first fight he had with Islam. He was jacked in that fight, but he wasn't as muscle.
His abs didn't have abs.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Now he's like even bigger.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting part about it. Put up the graphic about Islam if you can. Long Island Luke. Okay. So Islam, if he wins, will have they're all at 4 lightweight title fights, and they all have 3 title defenses. That's the most that any lightweight champion has ever had. They've had 3 title defenses. Some of them, keep it up, some of them, like Islam, he has 2 against 1 guy.
Yeah.
2 against Volkanovski. Guys like, I believe, Penn has 2 against Gray Maynard. Other ones like Khabib have 3 different names. BJ Penn has 3 different names, blah, blah, blah. So, thank you for the graphic. If Islam wins, he will become the first lightweight to have 4 title defenses as a UFC champion. BC, I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, before you ask it, it would also be his 15th consecutive UFC victory, putting him 1 shy of Anderson Silva's record.
Right. Fucking insane.
Like, come on, yeah.
If he wins, does it make him the best UFC lightweight champion ever?
If that's the way you want to lean, then you'd probably be right. You know what I mean? Just like Khabib. I mean,
but he has the loss. He got stopped early in his, not just on the regional scene. It happened in UFC. And while since like getting to the title and then defending it, he's fought hammers. He had a bit of a weaker run, relatively speaking, coming up.
So is Umar right now to a lot of people.
Fair enough. So how would you evaluate? Okay, if he wins, he'll have the most title defenses, but the larger body of work there, well, certainly exemplary. We're splitting hairs here. Is it the best?
I mean, he's been dominant too in a lot of cases. Right?
Just think about this.
I mean, Poirier rallied last fight and it was fun to see, but like he's been largely dominant.
Are we really going to say, and we might have to, I'm saying we might have to, are we actually going to say Makhachev was a better lightweight and a more successful lightweight than Khabib Nurmagomedov?
I'm not ready to say that. And the Khabib problem is the the big time off, and he unfortunately didn't get to fight everybody. We never got Tony Ferguson, blah blah blah. We know this story. But I'm not ready to say he's better, but if you think he is, if you do the math, if you compare fight for fight, and you come away with that, we're talking about the best fighter in the world, Makhachev. We're talking about somebody that if he wins, like we said, is going to be 1 win away from tying 16 consecutive wins in this era.
That's
like,
insane.
Come on.
That's insane.
And it's a guy who actually has been, like we said, in his UFC debut, knocked out, had to come back, had to rebuild. So he's already kind of been through that. Dude, he's a special, special fighter. This family is this gym, this team. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. Usman Nurmagomedov's fighting at the end of this month. I mean, if these guys, Luke, I don't know if we've ever seen a better group. I don't know.
I know you have Umar and Islam fighting this weekend.
Yes.
And then you've got Usman fighting the subsequent weekend. By the way, in a very good fight against Paul Hughes. Let me tell you this.
Combined records of Khabib, Islam Makhachev, Usman Nurmagomedov, and Umar Nurmagomedov, maybe the 4 closest to the lineage of the late Abdulmanap. 91-1 with 1 no contest.
Dude, it's
91-1.
It's impossible to have that kind of success.
Holy shit. You know?
And not in bullshit divisions.
No.
In like the toughest divisions all the time.
What do you make of the people that say, yeah, but all these guys get to the top before they fight killers? Is there something to that?
People can shut the fuck up. They don't know what they're talking about. The reality is, with this one, I'm with you a little bit on the Khabib thing because Khabib's run was, okay, you can say the Gleison Tebow fight was a little bit of a gift, but was basically flawless.
Yes.
Basically, and Islam's has not. Islam kind of learned on the job a little bit, but then Islam doesn't have that domineering single component, although he's obviously very good and probably better grappling than he is standing. But Islam got way better at so many things that Khabib didn't.
Yes.
And has aged really nicely. And
he's so efficient. It's ridiculous.
It's like, here's the thing. Habib represented this sea change in MMA about who was going to be dominating and what kind of things they were going to use to dominate. Right? The Dagestani guys and all of their incredible sambo, which had wrestling and judo and jiu-jitsu or submission grappling anyway, built into it. Islam was not the tip of the spear. And so he's been kind of quiet. And again, he had a quiet kind of run to the title, absent being associated with Habib.
He's hilarious, by the way, the more he talks English. Like, I love to see this.
All those guys are hilarious. I don't know about Umar, but certainly Habib and Islam are. But now Islam is at a place, and especially because Habib retired early, where I don't think this one puts him over the top of Habib.
Right.
I don't think that. but I think he's fucking close.
If he owns the win record, if he gets to 17 consecutive wins.
If he gets to 17 wins, if he wins the 170 title, I mean,
he would have,
no question.
and he would have the most lightweight title defenses at that point.
What I'm pointing out is beating Tsarukyan the second time, should he do that, puts Islam at the precipice of a level of greatness that we just haven't had a real conversation about, and it's pressing upon us here dangerously close.
And this week, he said in interviews, if he could pick, what would his next fight be? He says the winner of Shavkat versus Bilal. I mean, he wants
Assuming it's not Bilal.
Right. I'm sorry. You're right. You are right. I keep forgetting that and missing that part of it. But like, that's showing the interest level to be great. This guy wants to do incredible things. Yet, Luke, what did we hear the last couple of years? That Umar of the group is going to end up being the best. Well, how about this? Did you see that Javier Mendez went public 2 weeks ago and said that Usman, the Bellator champion, Usman Nurmagomedov, is the most talented fighter he's ever coached. Dude, he coached DC, Rockhold, BJ Penn, Josh Thompson. I mean, I'm missing many more titles.
Like legends.
Like legend, or Cain Velasquez. Like, I mean, just, ridiculous, including Umar, Habib. And he said that. And then also Habib said that, now again, this is Usman. He said Usman's going to retire as a top 5 all-time great fighter.
Wow.
So that's the youngest of this 4-pack, right?
He's got Paul Hughes in front of him. I wouldn't be looking past him.
I know,
he's
but
got work to do.
Damn, I don't mean to fangirl on Team Dagestan, but holy shit what they're doing, okay?
That's our top 5. Real quickly, throw up the fight card. I said, here's the fight card, BC. You got to say the Peyton Talbot fight on the prelims, the most interesting one, I think, by a mile.
Yeah, isn't that Johnny Walker fight off? Or
I was just going to say, Johnny Walker's out.
That
but
one
they
fell out, yes.
They got a replacement for Guskov. It's some newcomer.
Okay. Yeah, that Holland RDR fight is fantastic. No one talking to. I don't hate Jonathan Almeida versus Spivak. I don't hate it.
I like that fight for heavyweight. One of the better heavyweight grappling fights you could absolutely make. That's going to be a fun one as well.
And Eileen Perez is instant entertainment. She's like 4-0 in their last 4, though, so she's making moves here beyond
BC,
twerking.
will she twerk?
Oh, she might teabag somebody. Like she has no fear of.
It's like asking, will she breathe? That's her party trick. She just walks in and twerks.
Oh no! Isn't Toporia's brother making his debut at 312?
Yes, 312.
Okay. That's not a deep card, by the way. I just want to let you know.
Yeah, and also people were asking me, like, is Ilia Toporia's brother any good? And I'm like, well, the second to last guy he fought was 1-11 when he fought him, so really hard to say.
Yeah, that is.
Before we move off of this, very quickly, can we talk about the Habib Nurmagomedov situation on the fucking airplane?
Yeah, shout out to Frontier, right?
Yeah, I don't have. If you can find the statement he put out, Long Island Luke, it's okay if you can't find it.
I love that the first part of his tweet that when he went public was like, hey, everybody, it's not Alaska Airlines, it's Frontier.
Dude, people were filling up Alaska's social media stuff with nonsense. Okay, so apparently on a flight on Frontier Airlines, not Alaska.
Exit row.
He was in an exit row, and we don't know exactly what happened. We can only kind of piece it together.
I have the quote here if you want.
Okay.
So it says, first of all, I need to clarify that was Frontier, not Alaska Air. And then he said, lady who comes to me with questions was very rude from the very beginning. Even though I speak very decent English and can understand everything and agreed to assist, she still insists on removing me from my seat. What was the base for that? Racial, national, or other one? I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Okay. You get the idea there. They ask him in the exit row to leave, can you participate? And something went wrong there. And then they basically said, we're not comfortable with you being here, and they asked him to move. First of all, why the fuck is Habib riding Frontier Airlines? That's the Peter Pan of the skies.
Yeah, did he then stay at Excalibur? I mean, you know what I mean?
Literally the only place I've ever gambled in Vegas where they had dirty poker chips.
Did he then fight Chael Sonnen in the hallway at the Luxor? I mean, to cap it off, I mean, what a weekend for Habib, yeah.
The Luxor, you walk in, you ask yourself, hey, is this what it smells like when they convert a smoking room to a non-smoking room? Welcome to the Luxor.
Yeah.
I'll say this. As someone, I am a freak. Am I wrong about the Luxor?
Oh, you nailed it.
It absolutely smells like mildew from a fucking smoking room that got turned to non-smoking. I ride the exit row all the time because I'm a large man. They go down the line and they ask you, can you help in the event of an emergency, blah, blah, blah. And here's the only reason I know this, because I'm always like, yes. They get real fucking bitter if you don't say the word yes back. In other words, if they say to BC, hey, BC, in the event of an emergency, can you assist with opening the door? And you go, Sure.
I always go like this while I have headphones on, not looking at them. I go like this, and they
don't like that.
No,
I was on an exit row once, and they removed a guy for refusing to give the confirmation that they were looking for. I don't know if this is what happened. My hope is that that's what happened. That Khabib was like, yeah, sure, whatever, okay, fine.
Yeah,
and
somebody else that was on the flight put out, I don't know if it was real or not, but they put out an explanation. They said that the flight attendants, they thought that Khabib didn't understand them because he was looking kind of puzzled. But I don't know, whatever. I mean,
I just know I love the exit rows, but you got to give them the, yes, ma'am, sure, yes. And they go, I've even had them where they go one by one, like they're counting duck, duck, goose or some shit, you know.
Hey, also real quick, if we can.
Okay.
Would you make at the Ring Magazine Awards dinner that they had? I think it was in London over the weekend. Everybody flew out for it, and Turkey had separate sit-down meetings with Canelo and Terrence Crawford.
So there are reports now that they're close to making that fight.
And there are reports that Turkey talked to Haney and Garcia about doing a rematch in, I think it was like May or June. And this now the Crawford Canelo, they're talking about September. So coming attractions, Luke. The only one on the outside looking in still in terms of the big players is Tank, and even he put out a social media video yesterday that said, "I'm ready. If I need to rematch Ryan in Saudi Arabia, let's go. But give me 150 M." That's what he said.
Ryan Garcia also being like, "I'm not going to do VADA testing." I cannot believe that people rally behind the defense of this creature. Insanely racist, insanely hateful, insanely stupid.
Yeah, but he makes moments.
He's fine.
He's the mover.
Fine.
He's the mover right now.
Yeah, fine. Make movements, but the New York Commission's not going to lift his suspension until he recommits to VADA
that's
testing.
a fair point, yep.
So him be like, "I'm just not going to do VADA." Well, then you're just not going to do shit.
Or maybe he'll just fight in Saudi Arabia, where they, you know what I mean? Like,
listen, he's gonna go wherever people just tolerate the N-word, that's where
I
he's
don't know about
go.
that, but I do know that it's all pointing Saudi. I mean, look, everybody once Canelo hit the soil and did the picture, it's going.
You can decide if it's better or worse, but they have swallowed the sport.
But
they're
making huge fights right now. So right now, it's fantastic.
Here's the objection to that, and I would love to get your response, which is the reports I have seen, and we will see. Canelo fights 2 times a year typically. He fights Cinco de Mayo, he fights Mexican Independence Day, he fights May, he fights September. They're saying this fight is going to be in September.
Right.
Are these fucking guys going to sit on the shelf until September of 2025?
I don't know, but I feel like Turkey's actually in control. So if he wants whatever he wants, he gets. Isn't this true?
I'll say this. I've wanted to see that fight. I really don't want to wait till September.
I mean, we might get Haney Garcia too before that. I'd be fired up for that shit. Come on. I'm not saying this is the most perfect scenario, but Turkey's going to take a big swing. He's got an opportunity. So far, the pieces are matching up.
Today is, by the way, the presser for Bivol Better Beef 2.
I can't wait. Dude, that card is so stacked.
The card is super stacked. Stacked. All right, that's our top 5. That's our top 5 here. With that in mind, it's time for the donks to ask us questions. It's time for DMs from donks and a horse and a donkey to ejaculate. Let's hear it.
There we go.
With my blind fucking ass, please put the thing on the screen. I'm going to read them here as best I can. This is from Johnny Thump. If Islam breaks the lightweight title defense record, here we go. Does it put him past Khabib, considering Khabib didn't seem to go through much adversity in his defenses? It's more than just the adversity in the defenses themselves. It's the overall record of achievement, and I feel like he just has a little bit more to go to surpass what Khabib was able to do, beating Conor.
That last 4-fight stretch for Khabib was awesome.
It was fucking bananas. Yeah. And again, the last fight he had, okay, the leg kicks were definitely painful, but in general, when he wanted that fight to be over, it was over. Remember, he changed the submission he was going for against Gaethje to be nice to him. He took mercy on him.
I agree. If we ever interviewed him on this show, Khabib, and if I got him to reveal that, yes, indeed, he was one calf strike away from entering peril, they would talk about redemption for me. You know what I mean? That would be a moment, right? How do
I spin this story to be about petty debates we've had on this show? The answer is, I think we are all in agreement. The win on Saturday would definitely put him in new territory, but to really leave Khabib behind, I think he has to do something grand.
He's angling toward becoming one of the greatest fighters of all time. The last person that was really doing that full speed was Kamaru. And then he kind of, hit a sort of limit, but like Islam's coming.
He's
dude. He's
on
coming
his
for
way.
history. Yeah.
Next. From World's Worst Hero. Which non-title fight at UFC 311 is giving you guys a phoner? Okay, it's got to be Jamal versus Yuri
Yes.
or
No, it is.
or Holland de Ritter.
Holland de Ritter's fantastic, and I got an interview coming out later today with RDR where he admits that the two Malacan fights he fought, so cocky, so unrealistic, so whatever. Like, I really like where his head's at now, and he basically was like, "Look, against GM3, I gave him too much respect. I'm coming out and attacking Holland." So, Luke, that informs you that this fight could be even more exciting, right? This could be. He wants to get after it, get hits, get Holland subbed, and get him out of there. So.
Yeah. Long Island Luke, do you have a different non-title fight at UFC 311 you're in particular looking forward to?
I'm kind of interested in Yuri Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
See what happens
They're
there.
gonna bang.
I don't see how someone doesn't get CTE from that.
It's going to be fun, though.
It's a pick 'em right now, too. So.
What's your gut?
Taking it over-under, probably. I don't know.
All right.
Oh, we had a Long Island Luke. I got to bring this up here before I forget it. One of our listeners on the YouTube comments for our last episode offered that moving forward, we would call Nosita Long Island Luke. And I wanted to, and I can't tell if that's the most brilliant thing I've ever heard
That's
or
the best thing I've ever
I'm
heard.
kind of into it, too. Yeah.
Wow.
Long Island, Strong Island. He's
Yep,
out there.
It might fit
Long Island
perfectly.
Luke. Holy shit, dude. That's a t-shirt right there.
Yep.
Long Island.
Average show, get on it.
Yeah.
All right, next. From Jimmy_Reed. Feel like I haven't seen a single mention of Holland versus de Ritter
There you go.
since it was announced. Doesn't this fight deserve more attention? How do you see it playing out? I guess my question to UBC would be like, what is it realistically they're fighting for?
That's the thing. I mean, I asked RDR, the idea of like how many wins does he feel like he's going to need to crash the title picture? First of all, he said hopefully not too many. He thinks he's coming on fast. But what was interesting, Luke, is he told me that like not really all that focused on the title. He's just focused on getting big fights and having fun. I wonder if that takes the pressure off, if that allows him to just kind of be a little bit more dangerous. But he's still in the let me let you know who I am mode.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets a stoppage of Holland, it would be a nice early announcement that he's aiming at the top 10 and he's making a move. I mean, he's an interesting dark horse, you would say, right?
No.
Not a dark horse.
No.
You're saying a flawed guy who eventually will be found out.
Yes.
He did address, I asked him he took a lot of clean shots from Mearshart. He said, look, I gave him too much respect on the ground.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's see what he can do here.
He's training at Killcliff now.
RDR?
Yes.
Yeah. He's talented. He's talented.
That's kind of interesting because GM3's Killcliff.
Oh,
So he went to train with him
He's
after beating him?
that was his main training partner.
That's interesting. Well, it's a good training partner to have.
Yeah.
GM3's pretty talented and a good match, too. All right. Fair enough. Next. From Romana. I don't know what the fuck I say this thing. Is it crazy to say that the four most skilled fighters in UFC history? Well, it's so
He's
funny.
like, fuck this guy. yeah.
I don't mean to quite like that, but I'm like, can you get a fucking name that's readable, please? Is it crazy to say that the four most skilled fighters in UFC history are GSP, DJ, that's Demetrius Johnson, obviously, Jones, and Islam?
Zabit, if we can go 5.
What the fuck?
He was pretty damn skilled. You got to give him that, all right. I mean, those are 4 great fighters.
Silva's up there. Skilled. Jose Aldo is super fucking skilled.
Yeah. Demetrius Johnson's the most skilled fighter I've ever seen.
I'm not sure if that's true.
Name a more skilled fighter. Boney?
I think
Prime Barao?
I think Aldo is more skilled. In terms of well-rounded ability.
Yeah.
However, DJ is certainly fucking in conversation for that. Yeah, no question.
For his era, BJ was like the most skilled by far.
I know that people don't understand this because it's impossible unless you lived it. But dude, there was a time when, like, I'm being dead serious when I say this.
Please.
There was a moment at BJ Penn's peak where he had a jab that Freddie Roach said was the best jab in all of MMA, where he had knockout power in both hands. He didn't have good takedown defense. He had impossible takedown defense. And remember, he's the first American to win the world championships at the black belt level in jiu-jitsu, and he won. He got his black belt in less than 4 years.
And he fought Machida at like heavyweight,
light heavyweight,
Yeah.
but still, nevertheless, you know, he had his own wrestling, world-class jiu-jitsu, literally world-class jiu-jitsu, insane takedown defense.
Great
He
chin
could
back
strike
then.
his ass off. Great chin. They couldn't rock him. They couldn't knock him down. They couldn't even cut his skin. He was a fucking Terminator. I don't know if there's another guy who's necessarily much more skilled than that, to be honest with you.
I mean, as a gubernatorial choice, that's another topic, you know?
There's a lot of negative things you could say. Do you guys ever read BJ Penn's Instagram?
I try not to.
It's like when I say lost in the sauce, I'm being as nice as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Like on another planet. Not
Like Fabia level planets?
like what?
Josh Fabia level?
Way past that, brother.
Yeah.
Way past that. He is in a level of.
Did you see the Dark Side of the Cage new season that's out? I saw a couple screeners.
I saw some
the
clips.
Kimbo one aired, but I've seen the Josh Fabia one. It's weird, man. It's
Is that
weird.
right?
Yeah, he's not in it. Like
Yeah.
meaning they're just footage of him. Will he ever resurface again or no?
I got a DM from his account in the last year. I ignored it. I don't know who was behind it.
You had one of the most infamous interviews with him, right?
I think I did. They didn't. So that series, they asked me to be on the Rousey Tate one, and then the Habib Connor one. They have two of those coming out.
Yes.
About the thing.
They also have the Rise of Pride and the Fall of Pride.
Yeah, they got a bunch of.
Yeah.
They got a bunch. Those are the two that they asked me to be on, and again, it didn't work because of a bunch of different stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's. I don't know what to say.
I
About
like the Kimbo one, but that needed Jared Shaw. Come on, get Scala out
Where
of the
was
bullpen.
Scala?
I don't know. Wasn't
That dude couldn't say no to a microphone during the
know.
Elite XC days.
And then he put out that rap album, Coffee and Chronic, and it kind of banged a little bit. I'm serious. I'm actually serious, right?
You can't wait for the Scala Creed crossover
That's
album.
what I'm saying.
That's the one. Are there any more of these? We got one more. All right, here we go. From Mikey Mo Miles. See, I can read that one.
That's Mikey. That's the real Mikey.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here we go. Shouts to Mikey. Which athlete has made the best music, and why is it? Fuck you. Although I have breaking news. Can you hit the buzzer on this?
He sent you the video earlier to check
Hold
it out.
on. Play the breaking news bit. This is real. This comes to us from. Is this a real fucking account? Yes, this is the real guy. This is from the Shams. How do you pronounce his last name?
Charania?
Charania.
Yeah, I don't know.
The guy who replaced Woj.
Yes.
Quote. He tweeted this.
Why do I feel like this won't affect any of us but you? Is this?
He tweeted this 8 minutes ago. Quote. LiAngelo Ball has signed a deal with Def Jam and Universal Music Group.
What?
A representative from his label Born to Ball Music Group says. Sources said the deal is worth as much as $13 million, with $8 million guaranteed, and gives Ball full ownership of music and his own record label. Please shoot me in the fucking ball sack.
Dude, he should have gone with Suge Knight.
Suge Knight's in jail for running over a guy.
Still wields power, all right? In that industry.
Dude, I wish I had feet that people wanted to see. I just sell pictures of my fucking feet at this point.
Okay, but do you like this song? I mean, I'm not.
Are we
really
allowed to
into
play it or not?
No.
No, we're not, right?
Mikey loves it. Mikey also loves Burnt Chrysler, to be fair, okay?
I mean, if you like Burnt Chrysler, your judgment for literally anything else is you're off the roll call of who we ask for opinions.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
He
literally had the audacity to get bitter at me when I was like, Burnt Chrysler is the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
What about his question of which athlete has been the best rapper? We've seen that debate before. I always go to Roy Jones Jr. was actually better than people realize. Shaq, especially the first record, was good. He was good.
Roy Jones Jr. was never good at this.
No, he was.
Amazing boxer. Boxer.
It's considered that his rap holds up. I've heard this, okay? I've heard this.
How the fuck would you know? You went to see an Eagles cover band over
Eagle
the weekend.
Mania was awesome last night, dude. Oh, my God.
What venue did you go see them in?
Infinity Hall in downtown Hartford.
I'm genuinely the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Front row and center. Like right in the
sober?
Close enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best, I think Shaq is probably your answer.
Long Island Luca was talking about Damian Lillard.
Yeah, it's Dame Dollar all day. Damian Lillard. Go check him out if you haven't heard him. He's actually really good.
Fucking Long Island. Nobody asked you, bitch. All right. Is that it? Is that all of them? Yeah, okay. All right, BC.
All right, we've got one final
Time
segment.
for the feces.
Where I scour the globe, the good, the bad, the ugly, the highs and lows, the in-betweens in the combat sports world and far beyond. This one's called Have you seen my fecal material?
By the way, they added 75,000 lights to this room.
Yes.
And now I have to rethink it because now it's 95,000 degrees Kelvin in this motherfucker. And it's not like it was before.
All right. Well, look, we're going to start out in and around the Apex. It was Puna time this weekend. I'm talking about Puna Haley Soriano explaining that the knockout he scored was actually not his fastest finish ever, Luke.
This is your second time you've had a 31-second finish. Your fastest is actually 28 seconds.
Correction, my fastest is 10 seconds.
Where was
but
that?
It's not in the ring. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Hey-o.
I mean, did it land? It kind of landed, right? No? Anyway, Puna left the fight immediately after his KO and went to the bar and then was talking to the locals trying to show him that he's the guy.
I was just on there.
That guy no-sold him worse than your dad throughout most of your career.
Dad, please watch my career.
There we go. All right, that was good-ish. Let's keep it going here.
The second one was really good.
You know there actually is a proper way to hit a guy in the dick. You know this?
If your hands are hanging by your side, this is natural. You don't have to get way down here to hit a guy in the jimmy. All right, you just stand here like this. Your hands are right there. You can either flip him, which will cause him to buckle or react and get you set in for an elbow shot and maybe a front headlock, or turn your palm straight up. One of the ways I like to hit the groin is to turn my palm up, just like this, and just hit, just like that. When you hit, they're going to bend, and then you run straight up into their head and rip and turn and tear their head around.
Dude, how about that stash?
This is simple. You can go into the chin, you can go into the eyes, or you can come into the neck and trach him right now.
Yeah, that guy definitely not a Kamala Harris voter. I can say that with strong
that stash
confidence.
is intense. That is a
So
wow.
we used to. I've talked about this before, BC. Like in my fraternity, you know, I know you're against fraternities because you're against friends.
No. I'm against this whole idea.
You're against friendship.
That I can't stand on my own. I need some,
You're against friendship. You're against friendship.
But I need to go through this initiation of stripping
it's
nude.
Okay. It's okay if you're against
having
friendship.
people pee in my ear hole.
We used to play a game called Sack Whack.
Oh, you're selling it, right? This is great.
The palm we did not do. We did not do the palm, but we definitely did like stand next to one of the guys, and the whole bit was to catch them when they were least expecting it.
Yeah.
And then you just fucking fire one of those on the backhand.
And then just reach around, right? You know what I mean?
The backhand to the ball sack is exquisitely painful.
I really regret getting into this conversation with you. It was just...
You never played Sack Whack?
Not into that game at all.
I mean, I'm 45 now. I don't really play it anymore. But at 20 years old, it was highlight of my day.
Did you know that Canelo outside the ring's a nasty motherfucker?
What does that mean?
If you do this, you see how that is? My wife love that. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Oh, you're a nasty motherfucker, man. Take that.
Wait, I missed that. What did he do?
If you do this, you see how that is? My wife love that. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Big Red.
Now I have to think about Big Boy's nutsack, his gross balls hanging.
Anyway, let's go to our main license plates of the week, Luke. That was Pat Miletich's Chevrolet.
Dude, that was
right
me and Tukey sledding on the Capitol. We couldn't go. They had the whole thing closed down for Carter's fucking whatever it was, lying in state.
Yeah,
so I had to go all the way across town to take my kids
he
sledding.
was the longest living president in American history.
Bro, at the end there, they should have just euthanized him.
Okay, let's go to the next plate, Luke. Do you know this driver?
Late for 8. I'm always on time.
Oh, hey, let's hear this armed forces member try to play Wheel of Fortune.
Without you three, worth $2,000. Things is the category this time. Kareem.
Miners and hoes.
No. Stacy.
Fingers and toes.
That's it.
You know them servicemen, Luke. You know what I mean?
Buddy, he was talking about his lived experiences. Yeah, get the miners and hoes. That's how I'm around all the time.
Oh, Luke, did you hear what happened in China, by the way?
Julia, did you hear what happened in China?
What happened in China?
I'm trying to put my nuts in your mouth.
Alex,
Alex, this is the reason that Dad isn't talking to you. You've been doing this all week. And plus, I'm your sister. That's disgusting.
Okay, but did you hear what happened in Kenya?
That's pretty good, right? Come on. You got to give it to that nerd.
I mean, that's who I was in college. I can't.
You ever see a good weatherman who is hard at work? You know what I'm saying? Watch this weatherman.
Would be coming back, Jake. Well, he thought so yesterday when he talked to the media. He hadn't been told otherwise. This was kind of building Tony over the past couple of weeks. You know, he had such a great start to last season, taking over midway
Jake.
through.
Oh, boy.
First of all, Jake, you got to get a higher quality like whore you're looking after. That wasn't even all that great. You're going to get fired over that?
All right, it's time for your fights of the week. Let's go to professional lacrosse checking in. Watch this.
Now Thomas Whitty heads up off the bench. Big hit. And now Belter goes right out of line to Gash, and we got a tilt. Gash and Belter throwing haymakers. Gash gets his helmet off. Belter goes with him. They're dropping the gear. Here we go. Gash for the heavy right and an extra right.
This guy's still talking shit.
Buddy, that was a nice. You know what I was about to say? It's the dad versus the guy who wants to date the dad's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And then the dad just got wrecked.
That was in Buffalo, by the way, the Buffalo Bandits.
There's nothing else going on in Buffalo.
Yeah, you're correct.
Other than whites fist fighting over a lacrosse stick. That's what's happening.
Luke, have you ever just mashed the buttons together in a video game fighting? Like, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, watch this happen in real life. Wow.
Who's the wrestler who does this?
A lot of people. Rey Mysterio.
Rey
Jr.
Mysterio.
Yes.
That's the guy with the mask.
Yes,
whatever, yeah?
yes, indeed. That was crazy.
They don't fuck around over there in China, I guess. Huh?
Sometimes you can see some spinny shit in public. Watch this. Not sure what country. Maybe Eastern Europe.
I'm going to guess by the Cyrillic.
Oh,
Jesus.
God.
There's a Cyrillic alphabet on the walls there, so I'm going to guess it's somewhere in Russia, maybe.
Yeah,
or
I think Terry Adam just rolled over in his grave watching that. All right, let's
he's
go to
alive, I think.
Yeah, but that he was sent to hell before.
Yeah, not doing great.
The Steelers lost the playoff game to the Ravens last night, and their fans took it out on each other. Watch this.
Is this Pittsburgh on Pittsburgh violence?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to do in Pittsburgh?
I just kicked him in the soccer kick.
Here's what you do in Pittsburgh. You put gross fries in your stupid Primanti sandwich, and then you just fist fight other whites in the winter. That's what you do in Pittsburgh.
Have you ever sat around an open fire and like debated mythical matchups like who would win? Bryce Mitchell versus Floyd Mayweather, but in a jail cell.
If me and Floyd are in a cell, he's getting fucked.
Yeah.
He's getting fucked. And when I wake up, there better be some grits and eggs. He's my bitch.
Amen,
bro. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
I ain't scared of Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. He couldn't do shit to me. If me and him was in an elevator or in a prison cell, whatever, he's my bitch.
That's aggressive talk.
I have to say, there are ways to be confident about your physical skills without fantasizing about rape.
Just part of MMA these days. Fair. Hey, Conor McGregor was back in the sporting realm over the weekend on the football pitch. Watch number 11 here bring some MMA moves to the wow. Yo. Check out that body kick right
Are we trying to do the rehab of Conor?
No, but watch the footage, and now we'll go to the next clip. Watch these side tackles. This can't be clean. Just taking people out.
That one didn't look too bad. That one's a little. I mean, he was studs up on that one. Jesus Christ.
Do we have one more here? Yeah, watch this.
All right, someone throws it in. Let's see.
Conor, you actually can't double leg them.
Oh yeah, and what the
Just
fuck
judo
are you doing, bro?
yeah.
What the fuck?
They did blow the whistle on that.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jesus Christ.
You always want more elder abuse, right?
Yeah, I mean, always.
All right, here we go. Oh my God, that's not.
Hold on.
That's not funny.
Hold
wow.
on. I need to see that one more time.
Oh, Granny. What
By the way, the name of the account is Soy un Sanguchito. I am a sandwich.
I guess so. Oh,
dude, I tell you what, these big fat old ladies, they have no control over their own weight.
No, they don't.
Zip.
It's tough to see. Luke, we've often said on this show.
I wouldn't call that tough. I would more call that arousing. But okay.
God, you found some gilfs out there or what? Luke,
what are you into? Old bitches falling.
Okay. We've often said about regional MMA, anything can happen.
That's true.
Anything, okay? Even we going streaking in the middle of a match. Are you ready for this?
Oh, no.
Is that an omoplata, or were they just happy to see us? What is going to happen next? Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, just showing some dick and balls? You know that's an MK fan. I just want to be very clear about that.
Dude, if you get caught, you'll get caught nude and get your ass kicked in the cage by fighters.
Can you imagine being the security at this place and you got to haul out a naked dude whose dick and balls are just flopping in the wind, and you got to get control of this person? All my years working in bars, I never had to deal with anything like that. I was just always just normally clothed drunk people,
I used to have a boss at ESPN that would always yell at the IT people and be like, "Don't tech talk me. Watch this tech talk moment."
Well, that's exactly right. What we've done is we've taken the 360, we've added a DSP, and then we've...
Okay. Sir, we're live. Yeah,
that looked suspiciously like Jed Meshew.
Oh, wow. Wow. That lawyer?
Suspiciously.
Just not in practice. Luke, time to smell some ass. All right, let's go. So first you got this lady using the chair as a G-string, and then this, okay, that's aggressive. That is very aggressive.
They should ban him from civic life completely.
Yeah. Luke, the vape flavors, they're getting out of control.
I've never tried that one.
Excuse me,
I've
sir.
never,
which stores? Which?
I gotta tell you. Some of you fans out there, listen to me. Don't break any laws, but go pay for sex for someone, please. For yourself.
Wait,
I mean,
is this brought to you by the Marine Corps? What is he talking about?
There are. That joke comes from someone who doesn't get laid. That's who that comes from, right?
Okay.
And I'm saying, go help yourself. You know what I mean?
You're encouraging them to pay for sex.
Go pawn your car and go pay for someone to blow you.
Okay, what? I don't endorse this message. What is this?
I completely endorse this message because some of you need help. You need help.
All right.
God bless you. You need help.
Watch this guy in the interview. This is very Luke Thomas-like behavior.
Chili Jan.
That's okay.
Alki, I don't want to put my mouth on that now. That's absolutely disgusting. Oh my goodness.
Don't go anywhere. Don't you dare go to the next one.
Don't you dare play that fart that you texted me that time in the middle of the night in Las Vegas. Oh, that's so gross. I can't support that. Well, Luke, you know me well enough to know that if I'm not sitting in this chair, I'm probably playing Fortnite, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're Fortnite dancing.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Have you seen a vagina?
Never in my life.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay.
See, that's the guy. Just go pay for sex.
Yes.
Just go pay for it.
Here's to me hoping that male chivalry never dies.
Looks so nice. Whoa, let me push your stool in.
Okay.
Let's see how dinner goes first.
We've played this one before, Luke. All right, final clip of the week. Let's watch it.
Oh, nice tits. I mean, shot. Nice shot.
That was BC at the Washington, D.C. restaurants, and they'd be like, well, sir, what can we get you to drink? Nice titties! You got some big-ass titties!
Oh, that's the shit of the week. I hope you saw it.
Can you imagine if in the room outside, those people who work there, those nice people, if they knew what we were saying in this room, they would have us banned from the premises.
Yeah.
But much like my family, they're not paying attention to a single thing I say or do. So I'm just cool.
That's all we got for you this week, right? Yeah. Oh, Friday is going to be a hell of a broadcast.
Friday. Long Island Luke, you're going to be here for Friday?
Hell yeah. I'll have the bottle back here, you know?
Oh, nice. Friday. Our good friends at Jose Cuervo are going to help, and DraftKings and everybody else.
Yeah.
Going to help us get ready for UFC 311. It'll be me, it'll be BC, and it'll be the Iceman himself, Chuck Mindenhall.
Hell yeah.
And we're gonna. I'm feeling these margaritas, Brian Campbell.
We are gonna pre-game preview UFC 311 with that Omaha style, I think.
Do you put tahini on the rim of your glass for a margarita? Of course. Look at that.
Know where that was going.
Look at okay, here's the thing I've realized about BC. All right. Now, in fairness, I have made these accusations against my wife for different reasons, but I'm going to make them against you. You are not racist.
Thank you very much.
But
Kill Whitey. Yes, indeed.
No. But you are food racist.
No,
you are. If cuisines from other ethnicities you say no to for reasons that are like, if food was a skin color, you'd be racist.
I disagree with that.
Favorite Indian food?
I get Indian takeout way more than you realize.
Don't you dare say butter chicken, because that doesn't count.
The rice pudding for dessert is my favorite, actually.
Okay, once again, food racist.
Just because that's white?
Yeah. How spicy do you like your food?
I'm not good with spice.
Yeah, I bet salt and pepper you're not good too. You're a white bitch.
Okay. Yes. All right. Great.
I'm just being.
It's really going somewhere. Yeah. Great. Okay.
I'm just being. You're food racist.
I disagree with that. But we will be back. Pre-game preview brought to you by Jose Cuervo this Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern in your normal MK spot. But it's going to be right here. Just for this episode. It's going to be right here.
That's right.
In the future, we are going to take it where it belongs, outside the confines.
In fairness, BC and I have been wanting to do it outside on the road, and it's always the camera crew that's like,
yes. They can't say that anymore. Okay?
No.
I want to be down by the docks. I want to, give me, let's go to the top of the Freedom Tower where this podcast belongs.
Like The Wire Season 2, back to the docks.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm
with
talking about?
Sabatkas. Yes, that's where we're going right there. That chick though, the girlfriend of the the Sabatka cousins. You know what I'm talking about? The chick that lived with. Okay, sorry, she had a great rack. I mean, it was a long setup. It wasn't a great delivery, but the rack tremendous. Would have
Why don't you go smoke your Mackenzie Dern vape? You fucking
all right. Yeah. Pink monsters for everybody. Yes, there we go. Okay.
I usually go with like strawberry watermelon or not the one you showed. You know what I'm
Eagle Mania last night was really good. It really was.
I honestly, if my wife told me to go to that, I'd be like, we have to get divorced. Okay. Like we can't, we can't go to this.
See, you think
Did your wife go with you?
No. You think it's like, take it easy. No, they were rocking out, dude. Like Funk 49, Walk Away. I mean, it was, it was some rock going on, and I can, if you let me sit front row center, I'll rock out the whole night. All right. I'll set a trend.
Wait, so you went solo?
No, I went with some friends.
You hate friends.
I'm trying to be better at adult friendships. It's not easy. You know what I mean? You got your family, you got your job, you like being alone.
Notice your kids were like, yeah, we ain't going to that bullshit.
I mean, I don't think it was as negatively received in the house as you're portraying it. Okay,
fuck Dad. He don't know shit. All right.
I miss Chuck though. I miss him. Do you think we can convince him to do the show without his hat?
Bigger question is, do we want to?
That's a good point. Yes,
it is jarring.
Yes. Yeah.
To see Anakin without the mask. You know what I mean? It is jarring.
What a great gentleman, though. I mean, he's a survivor in this industry too.
Certainly is. Not many of us left, but he is one of them. As a reminder, all of our socials are available. You can. By the way, check out the Brian Campbell Experience. He's got the Marab interview. He's got the Usman interview, and then the DeRitter one today.
Let's do it. Let's hit it hard. Yes.
So you can go check that out. And of course, we're on social and TikTok for as long as it exists.
Long Island, look, you got a big time 311 content coming to your podcast this week, or what?
Yeah, I'll have the bet breakdowns out today and tomorrow. Definitely taking Marab. Short preview there.
Oh wow, main card minute picking Marab in the co-main event.
Yeah, well, they also had a bunch of bad bets this weekend, too.
Well, I think
that's not true. We hit a plus 255 Christian Rodriguez. Now we're taking plus 260 Marab.
Who was the other one you took that was a total disaster?
Chris Curtis. It wasn't that bad of a disaster.
Long Island, Luke always backs the Long Island guys like Marab. You know that. You know that, okay? He'll back Weidman for life.
Did you back Sterling over O'Malley?
Of course. Yeah. I backed Sterling that whole title run, and a lot of those were upsets, like the Jan fights.
Yes, that's true.
That's
true. That's true. Yeah, no, that's true. He did overperform relative to expectation. All right. But that's it. So we'll be back in studio on Friday. Email the show, morningkombat@gmail.com, morningkombat@gmail.com. We may do a Q&A on Friday.
Yeah.
So if you got things you want to send to the show, do it now, please.
Please do that. The Chuck will be here. The Chuck wagon will pull up, Minden Hall, in the house. Tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, and then check their search histories. I bet they're disgusting.
I bet they're
just foul. That's Or why are we here still?
Yeah, we're done. All right, that's Brian Campbell. I'm Luke Thomas. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. May all of your gains be loyal.